안녕하십니까. 오랜만입니다. 오늘은 주제를 하나 정해서 한번 얘기해 보려고 해요. 줄리엣이 한국에 생활하면서 좋았던 점과 한국에서 생활했을 때 이건 좀 별로였다 라는 거를 한번 얘기를 해 보려고 합니다. 그럼 시작해 보겠습니다. 한국에 왔을 때 미국에 있는 너의 도시랑 비교했을 때 뭐가 좀 더 나았어, 코리아가?
Okay, actually, you already know, I'm from the countryside, kind of. I'm not from a big city, I'm from a really small city. I can't really compare about Korea versus my city because it's too different. I mean, not Korea, but Seoul. Seoul and my city are too different, so I can't compare it. So, for example, actually I never saw or rode the subway before. In my city there was no subway and I never saw one in real life before. So when I first came to Korea I was really shocked and I was like, oh my god, this is the subway? I can't believe it. So it was really exciting. Buildings are really big in Seoul and there's not really any big buildings in my city. I just think about it and I remember the hospital maybe is the biggest building in my city and I think it was only like 8 stories, but I'm not sure, I can't really remember. Also, there's so much forms of public transportation in Seoul, like taking a taxi and taking a city bus or taking the subway. But in my city, I think most people just drove cars because it's small and it's not really close together, it's a little bit spaced out. And there's a city bus, but it's really different than Seoul city bus. So I just saw it, but I never rode on it before. Also, if you want to take a taxi, there's just not taxis just driving around like in Seoul. Like in Seoul, you can just see so many taxis driving around, but in my city, you have to call a taxi service and then the taxi will come. But it's, I think it was really expensive in my city. Maybe, I remember I worked and I took a taxi from my house to my work, and actually the drive was less than 5 minutes, but the taxi fee was around $7. So it's really expensive. But in Seoul, maybe a short drive like that will only cost maybe 3,000 won or something.
So what about Uber?
Uber? Yeah, there's Uber. So I mean, I guess that's more popular than taxi. So Uber wasn't that expensive, I think, but I only used Uber a few times, so I can't really remember. I like Seoul more because I feel a little bit safer. Even if it's a big city, I think Seoul is really safe, so I usually just go out at night and I can go to the convenience store alone and I don't feel worried that some weirdo is gonna like come kill me or anything. So that was something that was really comfortable for me living in Korea. And you know, sometimes honestly I don't lock my door when I go out of my house because I'm not nervous that someone's gonna go into my house. So that's just being honest, but don't come to my house and don't try to come in. So from now on I'm gonna lock my doors. So, you know, I really like that everything's so close together, so I can walk to so many places and you know, it doesn't take that long. But in my city there's not many places to go, and if you walk it might take a while to get there. And I really like Seoul because there's so many things to do, like there's so many different restaurants to try, there's so many different activities to do. There's just really a lot to do, and you know, how can you be bored in Seoul? You know, there's always something to do. Some little things I miss about my city is it was more quiet. You know, Seoul is so loud and there's always lights on, you know. It feels like there's never a rest time, you know. It feels like there's always some people outside going around, you know, drinking, blah blah blah. But there's, you know, in my city, because it's so small and there's like, it feels like during certain hours, like there's no activity outside, like it's dark, it's quiet, there's like nobody you can see unless they're like killers or something. I'm just kidding. That there was more kind of open space, and you know, I didn't have to wear shoes if I went outside. Like, I know that sounds so weird, but I hate that in Seoul I can't take off my shoes and walk, because in my city I usually walked without shoes on outside because nobody cares. So I just went outside and walked in the neighborhood without shoes on, and it feels good actually to walk with no shoes.
이번에는 한국의 안 좋은 점들에 대해서 한번 얘기를 해보겠습니다. 줄리엣이 경험했던 좀 별로였던 상황들을 한번
Yes.
네, 들어보도록 할게요.
Alright, now I'm gonna talk about things I don't like. Like in my city, if I fell down outside, so many people are gonna come and be like, oh my god, what happened to you? Are you okay? Like, oh, do you need help or something? But one time I fell on the stairs in Korea, but nobody cared and nobody stopped. They just kept going. And I was just like, does nobody care about me? Like, what if I got hurt or something? So sometimes it feels like nobody cares about each other, or sometimes when I see something and I feel like, oh, we should help them or something, they're like, oh, it's not your life, so don't get involved. So it feels like, don't you care about other people? Like, don't you care about other, humans? Like, we have to care about each other. So that's something I didn't like. And something I saw in the train is always people don't care about who has to go somewhere. So, you have to wait for people to get off the train first before going in, but nobody ever waits. They just start pushing each other and getting in, and it's like, you just wait. It's anyway, we're gonna be in the train. They're not gonna leave you here. So one day I saw a mom with a baby stroller, and they didn't want to wait for her to get out, so she got stuck in the train, and then the doors closed on the baby stroller because people kept pushing her more deeply into the train. So that somebody had to take the baby out of the stroller because the doors closed on the stroller. So eventually people were opening the doors for her, and then she got out of the train, but she was so angry, and she said, yeah, how could you people be so selfish? I'm just trying to get out with my baby and you guys just keep pushing and pushing and pushing into the train. So when I saw that, I felt so bad. I was like, why does nobody wait? Why does nobody care about other people? So that's something I really, really didn't like. Also, I really don't like dirty ajoshis. Not all ajoshis are dirty, but just sometimes they're so nasty and they're just like in the street. And then the other day, ajoshi spit on my foot, so his dirty, nasty, slimy spit was on my foot, and I was so mad. I was like, what the heck? How would you be so dirty outside like that? Or one night I was going home and it was late at night, and maybe around 11 p.m. there was some benches like in the subway station, like where you could sit down and wait for the train. And because it was late at night, the train was like a little bit far away still, so I had some time to wait. So I was looking around and almost everybody was sitting down, but I saw an old man and he was sitting alone, so I thought, oh yeah, maybe a nice old man, he's all lonely, so I should sit down next to him. So when I was sitting down, I suddenly saw he was watching porno on his phone, just with no earphones or nothing, and I could hear all the porn, and he turned the volume all the way up and he was just watching, and I was like, what the heck, what is wrong with this guy? So I felt really uncomfortable. I was like, what, why is he watching, in front of everybody and without earphones? And maybe in my city, if someone was doing that, somebody was gonna call the police on them, like, this person's being a weirdo in public, but nobody cared or told him. So I was super uncomfortable, so I ended up just moving like far away from him because I was like, what the heck is he doing there? Like, just, I was so uncomfortable. So that was one of my really bad experiences. But anyway, I don't want to keep saying bad things, but there's a lot of good things about Seoul, and I really like it here, obviously, since I live here. So I really like my moments here, and I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad. I love Seoul and I love Korea, so don't feel bad. There's some things I also really don't like about my city, so everywhere in the world has pros and cons, so please don't get upset. And I love Korea, so please don't get angry and write bad comments. That's it. Goodbye.